Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Shenanigans with Mr. B. Now, I will say that in the last couple of videos, we have been harping on issues with the security industry. And quite honestly, I'm getting tired of doing the same video, saying the same thing over and over. And then you end up causing your audience to get tired of it. Yes, we know mall cops don't take the job seriously, Mr. B. We know you're trying to do a good thing, but please give us something else. So today, we're going to do a combination story of EMS slash security of an incident that actually happened to Mr. B while he was in the role of security and let's just say EMS, or let's say a medical emergency presented itself. Now, I will be careful with the story. I do not want to give out any specifics to identify the location, the patient, the responding agency by name. So, at any rate, I was working in detail, special detail. And it's a sitting detail. But, I get up, I do my patrols, walk around, because I got to keep my leg juice going and my back juices going. So anyway, I'm there. I'm in the main lobby. Next thing you hear, boom. I turn around, I look. There's a person laying on the floor. Everybody, maybe 50 people, 60 people around just looking at the person. And you would think the normal human response would be, oh my God, is this person, are you okay? What do you think everybody did? Everybody took out their phones and was recording. Next thing you know, I said, get out of my way, everybody. Move, move. Go over to the patient. Hey, are you there? Is anybody home? I hear, and then a long inhalation and then a long exhalation. But he's doing this on and off, breathing like that. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Next thing you know, I look down, blood gushing out of his head all over the place, gushing at a rate that I have never seen from a head injury ever before. So I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. So anyway, there's no time for me to run anywhere to grab a first aid kit. This is how serious it was. This is how fast the blood was coming out. Literally, if you took a mop bucket and just dumped it, that's how fast it was coming out. So anyway, I get down. I'm like, hey, are you still with me? No response at this point. So I'm like, okay, first things first. We have an immediate life threat present. Does anyone know on this podcast what that immediate life threat is? Bleeding. You have to control the bleeding because if there's no blood in the body, there will be no life. So anyway, I look at my hands and make sure I don't have any open cuts, wounds, anything like that. And I just take my ungloved hand, whap, put it right there on the wound. Now I get it. Some people will say, Mr. B, why didn't you just take off your shirt? Why didn't you just take off your pants? My response is, this happened so quick, there was no time to do any of that. Right? Not only that, I'm not disrobing in front of 60-something people. I'm not showing you these goods with no monetary value in return. No, I'm not showing my itty bitties. So, that's what I did. Get over it. Right? I don't care. I had all types of fluids on me in my tenure of public service. The chances of contracting something from blood without an open wound is very low, but it's still possible. You're more likely to contract some type of skin type of disease from somebody. Like if you put your fingers in herpes juice, you're for damn sure going to get herpes. So don't do that. So anyway, bop, put it on his head there. And I'm like, dude, are you all right? At the same time, I'm yelling at everybody. Guys, put your effing phones down. Somebody call 911 immediately. Nobody wanted to put their phone down. Nobody wanted to call 911. So this girl comes up, literally gets like right in the mix, just recording. And I'm like, what are you doing? Give me that. I take my other hand. I said, give me that. Mind you, my hands are covered in blood, literally painted in blood. I take her phone. She goes, ah! And I said, yeah. Click. Shut off her video. Get on the phone. 911. And it was difficult because, like, on the touch screens, when you have the protector thing on it and it senses fluid and stuff like that, it creates an issue. So anyway, I finally got the phone. Dial 911. Take it. Wipe it off on here. Department of Emergency Services. I said, hey, this is Mr. B. I'm over at such and such location. This is what happened. This is what I got. This is what I need. Dispatcher goes, what? Can you say that? Can you say it again? I said, dude, listen. What are you doing as a call taker where you're asking people a second time? Are you like address checking or something? I hope it's address checking and checking the details. And you already got the rig rolling. I said, it's Mr. B. I'm here. This is what happened. Excuse me. This is what I got. This is what I need. I need an ambulance and a medic. This is a trauma call, trauma fall. We got profuse bleeding, in and out of consciousness. Dispatcher goes, we're en route. I go, okay, thank you. The lady's like, can I have my phone back? I said, no. I said, I'm holding on to your phone right now. You could tell the police that I committed larceny, but I have an intent to give it back to you. Yes, I do. But I need this phone for this emergency. I'm sorry that it's covered in blood. And she's like, and she walks away. Mind you, everybody's still recording around us. Nobody's helping. I said, guys, go find me the first aid kit. Go, if you can't find it, give me a whole bunch of paper towels. So anyway, the time goes on. I'm trying to get him to talk. I'm like, hey, are you with me? Hello? No response. Now, the breathing completely slowed down. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. So I go try to get a pulse. Let's keep it simple. On his wrist. Honestly, I couldn't feel anything. Couldn't feel anything, but he was breathing, so I know he has a pulse somewhere. So I'm like, okay. Well, let me still try a sternum rub to try to get him to and shout and yell and this and every other thing. Sternum rub. I was like, oh, good. So he's responsive to pain. He's just not verbally responsive. So anyway, they come over with the paper towels. I'm like, great. So here's the thing about a wound is you don't want to lift up to dislodge any clot that may be forming. But in this situation, it was emergency. This is life or death. So I had to make a call, right? I took the paper towel with one of my free hands. I didn't ball it up, but I made it not like one sheet ply, but multiple ply, multiple ply, multiple ply, multiple ply, multiple ply to make it thick so that it could actually do its job and mimic a gauze. So anyway, I quickly moved my hand, pat, put the thing on there. No blood came out whatsoever. I'm like, oh, great. Perfect. So anyway, at this time, but then I look down and it's literally like a crime scene. A big, big, big pool of blood. Something I've never seen before. So I'm like, wait a second. Is there like a secondary wound that I'm not aware of? But I have to be careful. Because of what? And all you EMTs out there will know this. You have to be careful of something. C-spine, immobilization, spinal injury. This was a trauma call from trauma height. So now I'm like, okay, so I need to see if there's another wound over there because it looked like there might have been based on the pattern of blood. So anyway, I do what I do to find anything. I don't see anything. I'm like, okay, good. So we just have this one primary wound, but now we're dealing with potential what? hemorrhagic shock. He lost so much blood so quickly, his body may be trying to compensate before it shuts down. Or is it cardiogenic shock? I can't remember. But you EMTs out there know what I'm talking about. Now I get it. Some of you EMTs, doctors, nurses, all those things, paramedics, people in the medical field will say, well, hey, Mr. B, if you were suspecting hemorrhagic shock, why didn't you do this, that, and every other thing? That's a good question. But when put in that situation, right, the small confined space that we were in, the way of which his body was already positioned, none of that stuff was required. The immediate emergency life threat was that bleeding, stopping that bleeding. That was number one priority, right? So we can sit up here and say, make sure he's completely flat. Make sure his legs are elevated. Make sure you unloosen his belt, unloosen his tie, take his shoes off for Pete's sake, right? We can sit here and quarterback sack that, but you people who have been in the shit know exactly what I'm talking about and have been through it. Everything happened so quickly, so freaking quickly that decisions had to be made right then and there on the spot, right? A thing that my EMT instructor taught me, there's by the book, and then there's thinking outside of the box. More often as EMS, we find I'm not EMS anymore. I have to stop referring to myself as EMS. Yes, I know, but when you've been doing it for a long time, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, EMS they find themselves having to think outside of the box quite often when put in an emergent situation such as that. So you can watch whatever true EMS on the channel on TV where it makes everything look so pretty and pressed and organized, but in real life, it doesn't work like that. In real life, it's fluid. Stuff is constantly changing where you have to adapt to the situation, even if it means breaking standing protocols. And now you look at me, Mr. B, you're crazy. Look, don't sit up here and act like you never did something that's not exactly by the book and the protocol. Come on now. Don't bullshit me. And if you follow everything to the T and it doesn't match the situation you're in and you continue to follow it, you should not be an EMS at all. At all. Right? You're a rookie. Honestly, you're just scared, right? Right? Sometimes you have to think outside of the box. And God rest his soul, that EMS instructor was damn good at what he did in teaching all of us and bringing all of us up in the community. But not to go off on a tangent, because I just want to add this in, because this video is already too long. Right? The situation was fluid. Action needed to be taken right then and there on the spot. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so bleeding has been controlled, even though he lost a lot of blood. But now we're dealing with trying to keep him alert and breathing on his own so that he maintains airway and pulse. Excuse me, I'm getting dry here. So anyway, next thing you know, he stops breathing. I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. And then he takes another deep gasp. I'm like, that's wonderful. Next thing you know, he stops breathing for like 15 seconds. And I'm like, dude. I'm like, we got a pulse? Let me see. I can't feel anything. I was like, oh, shoot. Somebody grab me the AD off the wall, please, because we got a situation going on here, and I hope somebody around here is CPR certified or can listen to my instructions. So anyway, I said, this can't be. This can't be. So my hands are covered in blood. I wipe it on my shirt. It didn't matter at this point. Blood's everywhere, all over me. And I'm like, maybe it's because I keep slipping around his skin when I'm trying to get the pulse. So I go down there, I check the pulse on the wrist, let's say. I didn't feel anything. So now I'm pressing harder. And I can feel the pulse now. But the pulse was very wonky. It was almost like AFib, where it was duh, 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 duh. Right? And when it did that, I was like, whoa, we got something. So I'm like, but he's still, it's not, I won't say it's agonal respirations. If you don't know agonal respirations, look it up. It's just he was taking long periods of gasp and rest in between his breathing. At that point, it did not appear to that he needed, and I didn't have a BVM, and I'm not locking. BVM is bag valve mask for you who don't know. It's just a bag with the mask. We can force air into your lungs. And I'm like, I'm not getting down there mouth to mouth. Your face is all covered in blood right now. Like I like helping people, but yeah. So anyway, I'm like, the alternative is pain. Keep that pain going. So it keeps his system, his airway open, because obviously he's responsive to pain. So I'm delivering pain with the sternum rub. Next thing you know, and he's like, but he's not coming back too. But that's good because that's keeping him going. So anyway, I said, I look around. I said, where's the ambulance? I take her phone back out. Oh, she goes, you give me my phone back? I said, no, lady, if you're not helping me, just go back. We'll buy you a new freaking phone if you're that concerned about your damn iPhone. So anyway, I get back on the phone. Emergency services. Hey, look, it's Mr. B. I'm over here at such and such. I had just called in. He goes, yup. What you got? I said, look. I said, this person is in and out of consciousness. He has a very wonky pattern of breathing. At periods, I can't feel his pulse. It's mimicking almost AFib or he's in shock. I need you to make sure this job has a medic on it. He goes, nope, the ambulance are out. I said, didn't I tell you earlier? This is a trauma fall. ALS needs to be en route. I said, they're going to have to go to the medical center on this. I'm telling you. And he's like, I feel like he's challenging me. Well, who are you? What agency are you with? And I go, dude, there's no time to measure each other's appendages here. Take my phone number, put it into the CAD, and you'll see all of everything that I've ever done. This is not amateur time. This is Mr. B here. But I didn't say any of that. But that's the way I felt. But here's the thing. In an emergency, I'm trying to keep this guy alive. I could care less about if they know who I was or who I was not. But when you got somebody on the phone who sounds like they know what they're talking about, as a dispatcher, you might want to take that into account when you verify what's going on. So anyway, he goes, ambulance is en route. I said, okay, fine, whatever. Long story short, I'm there, continuously painful stimuli this person because they're still taking like breathing that I'm not really comfortable with, but does not require supportive measures other than trying to keep him responsive to pain and maintaining C-spine immobilization. Long story short, oh wait, no, he came to at one time. Yes, before the ambulance got there, he came to. I'm like, dude, don't you dare try to move right now. And he's like trying to move around. I'm like, it's great that you can move around, but you have to stop moving around. You just fell from such and such distance. You're bleeding. You can't see it, but you're bleeding everywhere. Just relax. I've got you. I'm not going to let anything further happen to you. I'm going to do what I have to do to keep you alive. Literally, I said this to him. He was like, oh, okay, thank you so much. Oh, God, now he's talking. I mean, this is wonderful because I didn't want to do any pushies there. So anyway, I do my whole trauma assessment on this person. Mind you, I'm still holding pressure. You know, obviously PMS all around, which is great. But then he goes back out, and I have to literally have to keep painful stimuli him to get him back too. I check his pulse again. The pulse is now much, much stronger. His breathing is, uh, uh, I won't say it's okay, but it was not alarming as it once was, which tells me that his body might have been trying to compensate for the rapid blood loss. And I can't remember if it's cardiogenic shock or hemorrhagic shock, one of the two, or both together. But anyway, that's what I think had happened. He did not need any CPR or rescue breathing, because trust me, if he did, I would have had to deliver it, even if it required locking lips covered in blood. So, anyway, the ambulance get there. Now, this is where the story gets interesting, and I want to be careful because a lot of my EMS partners and coworkers from a long time ago are on this page that I have good relationship with. Then there's other people who I can't stand. So anyway, ambulance gets there. Lady comes up. What are you doing? Lady, can you not see all of this blood over here? I don't know if you need to wipe your glasses off, but we got something serious going on here. This person fell from such and such distance, been in and out of consciousness, has a wonky pattern of breathing, and his pulse is only responsive to painful stimuli. And he has a wound on the head. I don't see any other wounds, but I suspect, or we need to suspect, spinal involvement. And she goes, "What are you talking about? Why is the AED out?" And I don't know if I told you earlier in the story, but I did tell one of the event goers to grab the AED off the wall just in case I needed it. And I go, "No." She goes, "Did you call this in as cardiac arrest? Who are you? Do you even know what you're doing?" And I'm like, "Lady, I'm just here to help. Obviously, you don't know who I am. Over 20-something years in public safety, public service, EMS, amongst other things. I stopped this bleeding here. What do you want me to do? Do you want my help or not?" And she goes, "We don't know who you are. Get out of here. Get lost." And at that time, the police showed up because it's a normal occurrence with most medical emergencies. And so the police gave me a look, and she gave me a look like to get lost. And I'm like, I'm forced with the decision. But here's the thing. At that time, I was no longer a certified EMT in the state of New York. So I had no authority whatsoever once EMS showed up. I was just a bystander, a mall cop. And probably that's what they seen me as. So that's why they treated me like that. So anyway, I confirmed to her. I said, are you sure you want me to do what you're asking me to do right now? The bleeding has been completely stopped. We don't have time to go back and forth. Mind you, I think I had a problem with this lady in the past. Honestly, now that I recall, yes, I did. So that's why it played out the way in which it played out. So anyway, let's not get mad at something that happened 2-3 years ago, and subsequently before that with her 10 years ago. So anyway, I go, "Okay, it's all yours." She jumps in, she takes over, removes the paper towel from his head, bleeding starts again. I'm like, "I told you so. I told your dumb ass so." Anyway, she goes, "Get lost." I'm So anyway, I'm like, "Okay, cops are here. Let's not make a scene." I walk away. While I'm looking at the ambulance crew, they're panicking. They're frantic because now the blood started again. The guy went back unconscious. He's not responding to them. You know what she says? Do you know what she says? Right? She accused me of panicking, like I don't know what I'm doing, and saying about the AED, "Why'd you call us in as cardiac arrest?" Which I didn't. I was preparing for a cardiac arrest. But do you know what happened once the blood, everything started again? Get this. She yells out loud, "Oh my God, I don't have a pulse." I go, "What? What do you think I've been dealing with, lady? You should have never took the damn thing off of his head. You see how much freaking blood he's lost. Idiot. Anyway, the paramedic shows up. I know the medic. I'm like, look, she told me to get lost. You better go in there and check what's going on. This is an ALS call. I suggest you probably start setting up in the rig. Open wide, saline, do something. That's probably the best course of action while we go ahead, transfer him. Well, C-spine mobilization, put him on the backboard, stretcher into the medical center you go. Medic's like, yep, I'm just going to go on really quick, take a look. Medic went in, yep, came right back out, right in the ambulance, start setting up. Because literally, he has to replace the amount of blood that this person has lost to keep the pressure up in his body, right? Saline is just, think of it this way. And if, don't, as a medical and legal disclaimer, don't take saline thinking it's going to replace your blood, or don't try to make your own saline. But saline is basically a temporary solution to blood loss where it mimics most of the properties of human blood, right? It's just really sterile water and sodium. So anyway, don't mix those things thinking it's saline. So at any rate, I'm like, you know what? The ambulance crew is now frantic, panicking, trying to use my AED, opening up our AED, even though she accused me of panicking. And then she goes, oh my God, I got the pulse back now, right? Didn't do any compressions or anything like that, or put the AED on anything. It's just, this guy was just like in and out with his he was just, literally, I think he was critical. I would categorize him as critical. Now, like I said earlier, I'd never seen somebody lose so much blood before, so he must have been on blood thinners. But it was a lot of freaking blood. Anyway, so I'm like, they're panicking, the ambulance crew. I'm like, look, I'm going to help them, right? And if the cops are going to arrest me, I will explain to the judge why I did what I did. And them trying to have me arrested will not hold water against a jury. It won't. So I said, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and we'll deal with it later. Oh, now that I'm remembering most of the forgotten aspects and highlights of this call, now I remember when I made this determination to still assist after being told to leave, nudged off by the ambulance crew and the cop. As I'm engaging in assisting with the setup and the movement, the cop goes, what are you doing? You were told to leave. You are now interfering with this scene. And I go, look, buddy, I'm sorry, but if you're going to arrest me after this call, and we'll pick up the pieces later. And he goes, what are you talking about? I said, are you going to arrest me for interfering with this scene? Yes or no? Tell me now, because I can open up my phone now, and I can call your captain, lieutenant, or the chief directly. And he goes, oh! And he just like gives me this look, like, and he just walks away. And I could proceed to do what I'm going to do. So anyway, go take the stretcher out the back of the rig, open the sheets, the seat belts, lay it down, get everything prepped, start bringing in the backboard with the C-spine mobilization kit. They immobilize the C-spine, they get the bleeding controlled again, help them get them on the stretcher, and back of the ambulance, off to the medical center they go. A very interesting story, right? The person lived, by the way. Person lived. Honestly, I think he would have died if it wasn't for, let's just say, a team effort. Myself and the ambulance crew. This person would have 100% would have died, because all those people standing around, all they were doing were taking videos. Literally, the blood is just, it's just like, I'm thinking about it right now. I've never seen something like, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff. But what I'm saying is, I've never seen the blood come out of the head so freaking quickly. Like that. So anyway, my understanding, went to the trauma center, did everything, had some surgeries or something like that, was later discharged. This person never reached out to me through the client or tried to find out who I was to say thank you. But the thing is, I don't need a thank you. Right? I've literally saved, am credited with saving multiple people's lives. After a point, I was in the game, and I'm continue to be engaged in the game just to change the world, help people stay alive. I don't need a recognition. Recognition, give me some money. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, I'm just not going to let somebody die in front of me like that. Absolutely not. And I did break the rules. But sometimes the rules in a life or death situation don't apply. Street smarts, street rules is what kicks in. So anyway, the client thanked me. They were very thankful because they knew that this person probably would have died there, and it would have been a big, major thing. But I just go to the client. I say, hey, look, well, thankfully, you contracted the right person, and the right person was here at the right time. So this is why I beat up on people with training. Training is very important. Now, the state's not asking you to be this big time EMT paramedic. No, you should always operate within your basic level that you're certified to do, or that you know or could articulate in court that you know. But in most cases, you would be protected by what? Good Samaritan law. Or you can even say implied consent. Somebody's bleeding out of the head like that, they're going to die in a real life situation. If they were opposite, and he would want the same treatment done to him. So you should be covered, unless for some reason you decide to drag him by his neck into the hallway, and next thing you know he's paralyzed. Then your ass will be in trouble. But training is very important. You always have to want to get out. You always want to have to train. You always want to push yourself. You never know when something like this is going to happen. Now, if me as a security guard, and I was there working this detail, and I just stood around and did nothing, wearing a uniform, an authority figure, don't you think people would be like, this effing stupid security guard? They would have, right? Next thing you know, be all over the news. Security guard didn't do anything, just stood there, watched a man bleed to death. It wouldn't be good. So it's important to train, because you have to be able to rise to the occasion when something like this and other things happen.